in the Realms of Mediumship by Francisco Chico Candido Javier, inspired by the spirit Andre Luis. Rays, waves, mediums, minds. In studying the composition of matter, 20th century science has gone from surprise to surprise, causing it to revise long-held beliefs. Almost 5 centuries before Christ, Democritus' teacher Leucippus theorized that everything was composed of infinitesimal particles, atoms, that were in constant motion. But in spite of this, classical culture continued to be based on the 4 principles of Aristotelian thought: water, earth, air, and fire, or on the 3 hypostatical elements of the ancient alchemists, sulfur, salt, and mercury, in order to explain the many combinations in the physical world. In the 19th century, Dalton scientifically proposes the corpuscular theory of matter, and highly respectable scholars begin an extraordinary period of investigation, renewing ideas and concepts based on the so-called indivisible particle. Extraordinary discoveries open up new and grand horizons to human knowledge. Crookes discovers the radiant state of matter and studies cathode rays. Röntgen observes that invisible radiations pass through a Crookes tube wrapped in black cardboard and discovers X-rays. Henry Becquerel, allured by the subject, experiments with uranium while looking for radiations of the same grade and finds cause for further research. The Curies, intrigued by this enigma, analyze tons of pitchblende and discover radium. Old scientific affirmations tremble on their foundations. Rutherford, at the forefront of a large group of pioneers, begins prominent studies involving radioactivity. The atom experiences an irresistible attack against the fortress in which it is hiding and entrusts to humankind the solution to numerous secrets. Ever since the last quarter of the 19th century, the Earth has become a kingdom of waves and rays, currents and vibrations. Everything pulsates with electricity and magnetism, movement and attraction. The study of cosmic rays has demonstrated the fantastic energy scattered throughout the universe, providing physicists with a powerful instrument for investigating atomic and subatomic phenomena. Bohr, Planck, and Einstein construct new and grand concepts. The vehicle of flesh, the human body, is now nothing more than an electric vortex governed by consciousness. Each tangible body is a bundle of concentrated energy. Matter is transformed into energy, and energy disappears to give way to matter. Raised to the status of investigators of the truth, chemists and physicists, geometricians and mathematicians have become today's priests of the spirit without desiring it. Due to their ongoing studies, materialism and atheism will be compelled to vanish for lack of matter, the base that had ensured their negativistic speculations. Laboratories are temples in which intelligence is driven to serve God, and even when intellectual activity is misguided, temporarily subordinated to the political hegemony that generates wars, the progress of science as a divine conquest continues to exalt the good and is bound for a glorious future. That future belongs to the spirit. Meditating on the future of the earthly community, Andre Luis has written these few pages regarding mediumship, understanding the growing importance of the spiritual interchange between individuals. The farther the evolutionary ascent, the more assuredly humans perceive the non-existence of death as a cessation of life. Now more than ever, people see themselves as consciousnesses held amid forces and fluids that are temporarily combined for educational purposes. They are slowly starting to grasp the fact that the grave is the door to renewal, just as the cradle is the access to the human experience, and they realize that their stay on the planet is a journey with a destiny aimed at the stages of greater progress. On this great pilgrimage, we are all instruments of the forces with which we are in tune. We are all mediums within our own mental field, associating ourselves with edifying energies when our thoughts flow towards the higher life, or with disturbing and depressing forces as long as we are still enslaved to the shadows of a primeval and tormented life. Through the sentiments that characterize their inner life, all individuals emit specific rays and live within the spiritual wave with which they identify themselves. Such truths cannot remain semi-hidden in our sanctuaries of faith. They will radiate from the temples of science like mathematical equations. And while various learners focus on mediumship, studying it from earth to heaven, our friend Andre, taking part in building a new age, has tried to analyze its position and character from heaven to earth. However, what we want to emphasize in his account is the need to keep Christ in our hearts and minds in order not to become disoriented upon coming in contact with mediumistic phenomena. Without the notion of responsibility, without devotion to the practice of the good, without the love of studying, and without the persevering effort in our own personal moral education, the liberating pilgrimage toward the higher life is impossible. André Louise is clear enough. We do not have to expand on further considerations. To each medium, his or her own mind. To each mind, its own rays, personalizing observations and interpretations. According to the rays we emit, our own spiritual dwelling will rise within the wave of thoughts preferred by our souls. In essence, it is the same as repeating with Jesus. To each according to his deeds. Emmanuel. Pedro Leopoldo, October 3, 1954.